I thought I had it all figured out. 22 years old, fresh out of college with a marketing degree, and a job offer from a prestigious firm in San Francisco. But there was one problem. My high school sweetheart, Jake, had just gotten into medical school, on the opposite coast, in Boston. We'd been together since junior year of high school. 6 years of Friday night football games, prom photos, late night study sessions, and promises that we'd never let anything tear us apart. When he got that acceptance letter, we both cried. Him from joy, me from a terror I couldn't name yet. "Come with me," he said, holding both my hands across our favorite coffee shop table. "We'll make it work. You can find marketing jobs anywhere. Boston's a great city." I looked at my offer letter. $75,000 starting salary, the kind of opportunity my professor said came once in a lifetime. Then I looked at Jake's face, those green eyes that had been my safe place since I was 16. "How long is medical school?" I asked, though I already knew. 4 years, then residency. But babe, we've waited 6 years already. What's a few more? We're endgame. Endgame. That word echoed in my head like a promise. A cramped Boston studio apartment with unpacked boxes everywhere. Through a small window, you can see gray skies and falling autumn leaves, a stark contrast to California sunshine. A woman sits on the floor surrounded by boxes, looking small and overwhelmed. Her California license plate leans against the wall, out of place. Medical school consumed him. At first, I understood. The workload was brutal. He'd come home at midnight, exhausted, smelling like the library and hospital corridors. Our date nights became study dates, where I'd sit quietly doing work emails while he memorized anatomy. But then he stopped coming home at midnight. His study group became his world. Inside jokes I didn't understand. References to professors I'd never met. There was always one more exam, one more rotation, one more reason why we couldn't take that weekend trip to New York I'd been planning. "You don't get it," he'd snap when I complained. "I'm trying to save lives here. What do? Make pamphlets?" That word, pamphlets, became his weapon. My work was never important enough to compete with his. His second year, he forgot my birthday. Not the date. He texted HBD crazy day love you at noon. He forgot he was supposed to come home. I'd taken the afternoon off work, made his favorite lasagna, bought a cake from the Italian bakery he loved. At 11:47 p.m., he stumbled in with his study group. 3 people I'd never met, laughing about something that happened in their pathology lab. "Oh shit," he said, seeing the table. "Was that today?" His study partner, Maya, looked embarrassed for me. That somehow made it worse. "It's fine," I heard myself say. "I know you're busy." But it wasn't fine. I was disappearing, and he didn't even notice. By year 3, I was his logistics coordinator. I drove him to early rotations because he was too tired. I picked up his dry cleaning because he didn't have time. I managed his calendar, reminded him to call his parents, bought birthday gifts for his siblings because you're better at that stuff. My friends from college stopped inviting me to their weddings. I'd missed the last 4 because Jake had exams. My mom gently asked if I was happy. I lied and said yes. The truth was, I couldn't remember the last time Jake had asked me about my day, about my dreams, about anything that wasn't related to his schedule. The breaking point came on a random Tuesday. I got promoted, finally, after 3 years, to marketing director at the nonprofit. It wasn't Silicon Valley, but it was mine. I was proud. I called Jake. He was in surgery observation, but he called back during his break. "That's great, babe," he said, distracted. "Hey, Maya and I are presenting our research at a conference in Miami next month. Can you check if I have any conflicts on my calendar?" "Jake," I said, "I got promoted." "Yeah, that's awesome. So the conference is... You don't even care, do you?" Silence. "That's not fair," he finally said. "I've been working 80-hour weeks. I'm sorry I can't throw you a parade right now." That night, I looked up my old job offer email. The hiring manager had since moved to another company, but I found her on LinkedIn, and I wondered what my life would have looked like if I'd chosen me. Match day. The day 4th-year medical students learn where they'll do their residency. It's like a wedding for medical students. Families fly in, champagne flows, everyone's dressed up. I'd taken the day off work, bought a new dress. Jake had applied to programs all over the country. We'd talked about it, really talked, for the first time in months. I'll prioritize places where you can transfer your job, he'd promised. Boston, New York, D.C. I know you've sacrificed a lot. The envelope opened. I watched his face cycle through shock, confusion, then joy. Mayo Clinic, he screamed. I matched at Mayo. Minnesota. He'd matched in Minnesota. I knew for a fact he'd ranked it third on his list, after Boston programs. Then I saw him turn to Maya, watched them embrace, watched how long that embrace lasted, how her hand lingered on his back. Looks like we're going to be co-residents, she said, her smile bright and sharp. That's when I knew. How long? My voice sounded like it belonged to someone else. We were back at the apartment. The celebration was over. It was 2 a.m. and I'd spent the last 6 hours watching him avoid me. It's not what you think. How long? He ran his hands through his hair, that gesture I used to find endearing. A year, maybe more. I don't know, it just happened. You've been sleeping with her for a year? We're not sleeping together. Not really. It's complicated. Medical school is intense, and she gets it in a way that... He stopped, realizing what he was about to say. In a way that I don't, I finished, because I'm just making pamphlets. I didn't mean... Did you change your rank list for her? Did you pick Mayo because she wanted it? His silence was my answer. There's more, he said. Maya and I already signed a lease in Rochester. 2-bedroom. Her boyfriend is moving there too. He got a job at IBM. We thought it would be nice to have couple friends. Built-in support system. I laughed. It was a horrible, broken sound. You planned your life with her. You signed a lease with another woman. When were you going to tell me? After we moved to Minnesota? Were you even going to ask me to come? Of course I was. I am, but... He trailed off. But what? But maybe this is a sign. Maya said... I stood up so fast my chair fell over. Your girlfriend has opinions about our relationship? She's not my girlfriend. And she just pointed out that we've grown apart. That maybe we want different things. She said sometimes high school relationships aren't meant to last forever. That people change. So you've been discussing our relationship with her. Planning your future with her. For a year. He looked at me with something worse than anger. Pity. You gave up California for me. I know that. And I'm grateful. But you can't hold that over my head forever. I didn't force you to come. You made that choice. I want you to leave, I said. What? This is my place. I'm on the lease. I know. That's why I'm leaving. I'll be out by morning. Don't be dramatic. We can work through this. I'll break the lease with Maya. We'll find our own place in Minnesota. We'll start fresh. I looked at him. Really looked at him. And didn't recognize the person sitting there. The boy who'd given me his Letterman jacket at 16 was gone, or maybe he'd never existed. You want to know the worst part? I said. It's not even the cheating. It's that you made me complicit in my own disappearing. I erased myself for you, and you didn't even notice until there was nothing left to erase. I called in sick to work, packed what I could fit in my car, 4 years condensed into 2 suitcases and a car trunk. As I was leaving, he said, "What about us? What about Endgame?" I stopped at the door. We were never endgame, Jake. I was just filling time until your real story started. The last thing I heard was his phone ringing, Maya's name on the screen. I drove west. Not straight to California. I wasn't ready for my parents' questions. I just drove. Stopped at motels with flickering vacancy signs, ate gas station sandwiches, cried until my eyes swelled shut. In Ohio, I pulled into a rest stop and screamed into my steering wheel. A trucker knocked on my window, concerned. I waved him away. In Nebraska, I called my college roommate, Sarah. She was in Seattle now, working for Amazon, living the life I could have had. Come here, she said. Stay with me. Take as long as you need. By Wyoming, I'd stopped crying. The anger was setting in. Good. Anger meant I was still alive. Sarah's apartment in Capitol Hill was everything my Boston studio wasn't. Bright, spacious, full of plants and art and life. She took one look at me and didn't ask questions. Just made up the guest room and ordered Thai food. Stay as long as you want, she said. I mean it. The first week, I didn't leave the apartment. I slept, cried, watched trash TV, and avoided my phone. Jake called 17 times. I blocked his number. The second week, Sarah dragged me to Pike Place Market. "You need to see that the world is bigger than one mediocre man," she said. Standing there, watching tourists and locals flow around me, smelling coffee and fresh flowers and the Puget Sound salt air, something cracked open in my chest. Not healing, not yet, but space for the possibility of healing. Sarah worked in tech, and her network was vast. Within 3 weeks, she'd gotten me interviews at 5 companies. "You have experience," she said, helping me update my resume. "Stop selling yourself short." That nonprofit work was real. The company that hired me, a mid-size marketing agency focused on sustainable brands, offered me $68,000. Not Silicon Valley money, but more than I'd made in 4 years in Boston. My new boss, Karen, was a woman in her 50s who'd divorced her husband after putting him through law school. "I know that look," she said during my interview, the "I lost myself" look. Here's what I learned. The best revenge is becoming so successful and happy that you forget they exist. Think you can do that? I got my first genuine smile in weeks. I can try. Karen's company offered good benefits, including therapy. My therapist, Dr. Chen, didn't let me hide. "You're angry at him," she said in our 3rd session, "but who are you really angry at?" "Him. He cheated. He lied. And you?" I stopped, stared at her. "What?" "You're also angry at yourself. For staying. For sacrificing. For not choosing you." I ugly cried into her couch cushions for the next 20 minutes. "Here's the hard truth," Dr. Chen said gently. "No one can make you give yourself up. You chose to stay. Every day you chose it. Yes, he was selfish, but you enabled it. The question isn't why he didn't value you. It's why you didn't value yourself." That session broke something open. I started to understand. I couldn't just blame Jake. I had to own my part. Dr. Chen gave me homework. Do something you loved before Jake. Something you stopped because it didn't fit his schedule. I'd taken pottery classes in college. Loved it. Stopped when I moved to Boston because we couldn't afford hobbies. I found a studio in Ballard. Signed up for Wednesday evening classes. The first time my hands touched wet clay, I cried, but this time from relief, not pain. The instructor, an older man named Frank, said, "Pottery is honest. You can't force it. You work with what it wants to become, just like people." I threw misshapen bowls and lopsided vases for 2 months. Didn't matter. I was creating instead of waiting. 6 months in Seattle, I'd stopped looking for love. I was focused on work, therapy, pottery, rebuilding friendships. I'd even started dating casually. Nothing serious, just remembering I was allowed to be wanted. Then I met Daniel at a volunteer event. Sarah's company was doing a charity build with Habitat for Humanity. Daniel was a carpenter, actually built houses for a living, not as a weekend hobby. "You're holding that hammer wrong," he said, not unkindly. "I'm a marketer, not a carpenter," I shot back. "Good. I need help with my business's Instagram, terrible at it. Trade you hammer lessons for social media lessons?" It wasn't love at first sight. It was easier than that. It was comfortable. Daniel didn't try to save me. He just existed alongside me. We got coffee, went to museums. He taught me basic woodworking. I helped him build a social media presence for his custom furniture business. 3 months in, I told him about Jake. All of it. "That sucks," he said simply. Guy was an idiot. I was an idiot too. I lost myself. "Nah." Daniel shook his head. "You were young and in love. That's not being an idiot. That's being human. The smart part is you left. Some people never do. Aren't you worried that I'll do that again? Lose myself in a relationship?" He looked at me with these steady blue eyes. "Are you worried about that? Terrified? Then you won't. You can't accidentally fall into something you're actively guarding against. But also, I'm not Jake. I don't need you to disappear for me to feel big." A year after I left Boston, Jake messaged me on Facebook. I'd unblocked him months ago, not because I wanted contact, but because the block felt like I was still giving him power. "I made a mistake. Can we talk? Things with Maya didn't work out. I've been thinking about you, about us. I'm sorry." I stared at that message for a long time. A year ago, it would have shattered me. 6 months ago, I might have felt vindicated. Now, I felt nothing. Maybe a little sad for him. I showed Daniel. He read it, handed my phone back. "What do you want to do?" he asked. "Nothing," I realized. "I don't want to do anything." And I didn't reply. Not out of spite, but because there was nothing left to say. That chapter was closed. 1 year after Jake's message, 2 years after I left Boston, I was promoted to senior marketing director. My salary hit 6 figures. I'd moved into my own apartment. Not Sarah's place, not Daniel's place when we got serious. Mine. Daniel and I were together, but I'd learned the difference. Being with someone versus being absorbed by someone. "Move in with me," he'd said a few months ago. "Not yet," I'd answered. "I need to know I can stand on my own first." And he got it. "Okay, I'll be here when you're ready, if you're ever ready." That's when I knew he was different. I took a solo trip to the Oregon coast that summer. Dr. Chen said rituals help with closure. I brought the old job offer from San Francisco, printed out, worn from being folded and unfolded. I also brought a photo from Jake's medical school graduation, where I stood beside him, already fading. I burned them on the beach at sunset, watched the paper curl and blacken and become ash. "I forgive you," I said to the ocean, "and I forgive me." The waves took the ashes. The wind took the smoke. When I got back to my car, I had a text from Daniel. "Made your favorite soup. Dog misses you. I miss you. Drive safe." And another from my boss. "Client loved your pitch. You're brilliant. Take tomorrow off. You earned it." I sat in my car and cried, but this time from joy. 3 years after I left Boston, I got an email, not a Facebook message, a real email. From Jake. Subject: Apology and amends. I almost deleted it, but curiosity won. He'd left Mayo after 1 year. Things with Maya imploded. Apparently, she'd been seeing someone else too. He'd finished residency at a program in Phoenix, was now working as an ER doctor. He'd been in therapy. He'd realized how badly he'd treated me. "I don't expect forgiveness," he wrote. "I don't even expect a response. But I'm in recovery. Not from substances, from being a narcissist. My therapist said I need to make amends. You deserved better. You deserved everything. I was too young and selfish to see it. I'm sorry." I sat with that email for a week. Talked to Dr. Chen, talked to Daniel. "Do you want to respond?" Daniel asked. "I think I do. Not because I owe him anything, but because I want him to know I'm okay. Better than okay." I wrote back, "Jake, thank you for your apology. I accept it. I've forgiven you. Not for you, but for me. I needed to let go of the anger. I'm happy now. Really happy. I have a career I love, people who value me, and I've learned to value myself. I hope you found peace too. I hope you've learned to see people, really see them as whole humans, not supporting characters in your story. I don't regret loving you. I regret dimming myself to do it, but I don't do that anymore. I wish you well, truly, but I don't think we need to stay in touch. Some chapters close for good reason. Take care of yourself." I hit send, closed the laptop, felt nothing but relief. 6 months later, Daniel proposed, but not the way Jake had. No public spectacle, no movie moments. It was Sunday morning. I was making pancakes. Badly, I'd learned to cook for myself, but I was no chef. Flour was on my nose. The dog was begging for scraps. Daniel came up behind me, wrapped his arms around my waist, and said, "I love this." My terrible pancakes? This. You, here, in your element, not performing, not trying to be anyone but yourself. He turned me around, pulled out a box. "I want Sunday mornings with you forever, but only if you want them too. No pressure, no rush. You say when you're ready. I just want you to know I'm ready. I'll wait as long as you need." I looked at the ring. Simple, perfect. So different from the big diamond Jake had bought to prove something. "You're sure?" I asked. "You're sure you can handle that I'm never going to be someone who gives up herself? That I'll always have my work, my pottery, my friends, my separate identity? That's exactly who I want to marry. I don't want half of you. I want all of you, which includes the parts that have nothing to do with me. I thought about Jake, about 4 years of slowly vanishing, about the girl who gave up California. Then I thought about the woman I'd become, the one who'd rebuilt herself, who'd learned her worth. Yes, I said, but we're planning this wedding together, equal partners. Wouldn't have it any other way. The pancakes burned. We didn't care. We got married a year later, small wedding, 40 people in the San Juan Islands. I wore a dress I loved, not what was trendy, not what looked good in photos, what made me feel like me. My dad walked me down the aisle crying. "I'm so glad you found your way back to yourself," he whispered. Sarah was my maid of honor. In her toast, she said, "I watched my best friend disappear for 4 years. Then I watched her fight her way back to life. This wedding isn't about finding her other half. It's about 2 whole people choosing each other. That's how it should be." When Daniel and I said our vows, I'd written my own. I promised to love you without losing myself, to grow with you, not into you, to be your partner, not your shadow, to keep choosing myself so I can keep choosing you. We bought a house in West Seattle. Daniel built our furniture. I kept my pottery studio. We both kept our careers, our hobbies, our friend groups. Some nights he worked late in his workshop. Some nights I had work events. We traveled separately sometimes. I'd visit Sarah, he'd go on guys' camping trips, and it worked. Because we were 2 whole people, not 2 halves desperately trying to complete each other. I made senior partner at my agency. Daniel's custom furniture business took off. We got a second dog. We talked about kids, maybe someday when we were both ready. We fought sometimes, had hard conversations, went to couples counseling preventatively, not because we were broken. "This is what I wanted to show you," Dr. Chen said in one of my last therapy sessions. "A relationship should add to your life, not define it." 5 years after I left Boston, I saw Jake at a medical conference in Seattle. My agency was there promoting a campaign for a healthcare nonprofit. He was there presenting on emergency medicine. We locked eyes across the vendor hall. He looked older, tired. His badge said Phoenix General Hospital. He walked over. "Wow, hi. I didn't know you'd be here. I work here in Seattle. This is my city now. You look amazing, really. Happy." "I am. How are you?" "Good. Fine. Busy. ER is brutal." He laughed nervously. "Dating someone, another doctor. It's good." An awkward pause. "I got your email," he said. "A few years ago. I never replied because I figured you wanted space. But I want you to know, I really